All right, shalom, shalom. First things first, I want to give honor and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakurash. Say Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakurash. And we give double honor to our apostles and our elders, which are the apostle elders, a great millstone, which feed us with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahushai. 2025, which is the whole year of our deliverance and the judgment and the destruction of Esau. Let's jump right into this video. This is more visiting the hell topic, since it's a topic, an ongoing issue, which, hey, there's nothing defending the scriptures. Just like a body, white blood cells defend the body from ongoing attacks. You know, the body's always being attacked, so it's a constant fighting it. But this also strengthens our mindset and gives us that energy we need and that mindset we need to believe. That's why it says faith cometh by hearing. You know, and you have to be convinced in your own mind. So this right here, if there's no eternal hell, then what can Esau really do to you when it comes to that time of judgment and choosing the faith rather than the MOTB? So that's how I look at it. It's a beautiful thing that the Lord is allowing us to review this and to get it instilled and engraved into our minds, all right? So let's play this video. This is something that if you've been around for a while, you've seen this video before. So this is fair use. Fair use. This is for educational purposes only. Listen for yourself. So all these guys that are pushing the doctrine of the wayward doctrine that has been established by these elites, all right, going back in history. And I'm going to go through some of the information shortly. But they're pushing doctrines that even the wicked themselves know is faulty. So let's play this.
I don't think hell exists. I happen to believe in life after death, but I don't think it's got a thing to do with reward and punishment. Religion is always in the control business. And that's something people don't really understand. It's in the guilt-producing control business. And if you have heaven as a place where you're rewarded for your goodness and hell as a place where you're punished for your evil, then you sort of have control of the population. And so they create this fiery place, which has quite literally scared the hell out of a lot of people throughout Christian history. Mm-hmm. And it's part of a control tactic.
But wait a minute, you're saying that hell, the idea of a place under the earth or somewhere where you're tormented for an eternity, is actually an invention of the church?
I think the church fired it.
And the thing about it is that hell is for spirits, okay? If you're that's where you're sent to after you're judged, why would it be on earth? Earth is a terrestrial. That's where you have an extraterrestrial and terrestrial plane. Earth is a physical plane. Spirits function on the spiritual realm. Okay, so and fire can't burn a spirit. A spirit is fire. It's energy. So they would have to burn. Burning is saying that you have, what does it say? Nerve endings that can burn. A spirit doesn't have a nerve ending. It doesn't. That's where you get even angels. Angels are another flesh. Animals are another flesh. But flesh on the earth, which is where man is placed, is a terrestrial plane. Okay, and if it's under earth, that means that there's a place that's a physical means of a physical making, not a mystical place, because spirits can't feel fire or pain, because that's what comes from being on a terrestrial pain level. Okay, that's why it says where the dead rest. When people pass, when you go into the spirit world, everybody's at rest. Okay, even the prophet said, "Why have you disquieted me from my rest?" So there is no place you can burn on earth, even if it's saying that it's in a place under the earth. Well, that's a terrestrial plane. And if a spirit is, if you die and you get punished, that means you are a spirit now, and spirits don't feel pain. Okay. So let's keep playing.
Furnace is hotter than anybody else. But I think there's a sense in most religious life of reward and punishment in some form. The church doesn't like for people to grow up because you can't control growing up.
That's the same thing to show you that Nate don't want his followers to grow up. That for him pushing this doctrine, which he's changed countless amounts of time, and going back to the MOTB's changed. Other guys have changed it around, or they've pushed the same breakdown, which is not correct. But they don't want their followers to grow up. Because once you grow up and learn that, guess what? You don't have a place for eternal, but you do try. That we don't say just do anything you fucking want to. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you follow the laws because you want to be delivered, and you want that honor seat. You don't want the seat that's in the back. Just like it says in the feast, you don't want to sit in that seat and then you be told that you have to move for somebody else. You want to be pulled up into that higher seat, which is the spirit of honor. Okay, the deliverance of the elect, those men, those women, and children are going to be honored in the kingdom to come. They're going to be honored by their works. That's why it says the works do follow them. They're going to be on a higher level because they've been chosen and been given that crescendo of a position. Okay, that's a higher level position that all jakes aren't going to be on. That's why it says those that turn many to righteousness shall shine as the stars of heaven. So they're going to be in a higher position because they've done the work and the labor to earn that position and earn that right to be called the elect. All right. So they don't want their followers to grow up truly in spirit. Okay, to be matured fully, and that's showing you that he don't have trust in his own doctrine and he doesn't trust his own will. Because really, if your people grow up, that's a good thing, because they're not your sheep. They're Yahweh Shai's sheep. They're not for you to leech money off of and make money and control. That's not what the Lord went on the cross for. That's why it says this: if you love me, feed my sheep, not feed your sheep. They ain't yours. You're working. You're in the field working for the man that owns the farm and owns the plantation. Those are not your sheep. So you don't come in here and try to do your own thing because they don't belong to you. You're laboring. That's why Yahweh said, I shall pray to the Father of the harvest, and he shall send laborers into his vineyard. It's not for you to leech money off of and assert control over these men, because you didn't give your life for them. You don't even want to give them the truth. Nonetheless, give up your life and actually give a sacrifice for these men, women, and children. These guys that are talking these doctrines, they won't give them their lives for supposed their congregation. They won't do that because they're not wanting to push the truth to 100%. So what makes you think they're going to be able to give up their lives, this thing that they value the most, that they're playing the crookster for? They're doing it for filthy lucre. So what makes you think they'll give their lives up? They won't do that, man. Okay?
That's why we talk about being born again. When you're born again, you're still a child. The people don't need to be born again. They need to grow up. They need to accept their responsibility for themselves and the world.
What do you make of the theology, which is quite prominent these days in America, which is that there is one guaranteed way not to go to hell, and that is to accept Jesus as your personal...
Okay, so let's go here. So what I did is I jumped into the chat. All right. I said the doctrine of hell is Catholic teachings, historical development, and spiritual examination. Okay, the Catholic doctrine of hell as a place of eternal torment has been a subject of theological debate, with critics arguing that it was developed as a tool for social control. Origen's scripture bias, particular Gehenna, the historical influences. The Catholic doctrine of hell defines the purpose. What is that? Catechism of the Catholic Church, CCC 1033, defines hell as the state of defensive or definite or self-exclusion from communication with the Most High, emphasizing eternal separation and punishment for unrepentance, moral sin. External torment, taught as divine justice with references to unquenchable fire, Mark 9 and 30 and Mark 9 and 43. And eternal punishment, Matthews 25 and 46. Control mechanism. Critic argued that the fear of hell was used to enforce moral compliance, particularly during the medieval church dominance. So that's what these guys are using it for, again, for what you call compliance, moral compliance. And that's what they say. If you leave IUIC or you leave these places, that you're not going to make it, that you're not going to be delivered. You're not going to taste of the kingdom of heaven. So you got to stay in IUIC to be able to be. No, that's not what it is. All right. Because if you're pushing the right doctrine and the right truth, you're bringing them to Yahweh Shai, because even Yahweh Shai said, when the disciples tried to stop those men from prophesying in his name, he said those that don't separate from that push the same thing, they're not separating. I'm paraphrasing. So the same mentality, I wish I wasn't worrying about, yeah, they got to come under my rule and under my thumb. He was saying, look, they pushing the truth. The spirit is, hey, the Father does what he's going to do. Same thing with Peter when he asked Peter, says, who do you think that I am? And Peter said that you are the Messiah. And what did Yahushua respond? Says, my Father in heaven has given you this. So if the Lord was well aware that certain men could be breathed into inspiration at any time, he wasn't controlling it. He was moving with the flow of the Heavenly Father. All right. So these guys are having a mindset of, oh shit, let me make sure these people don't wander. Because what happens with that when you lose if you're scared of losing membership, you're scared of losing money. If it ain't about money to you, it doesn't matter. They can come or they can go. Same thing with the apostles and elders is a prime example. They tell us, hey, if you want to go do your thing. All right? Don't even say nothing. Just go. So they're not worrying about memberships and having these mass followings. That breeds money, that breeds more attention, that brings more also problems too. With more money, more problems. Okay? Just same thing as prime example in these other places. You see adultery going on. You see all types of wayward actions going on because the truth is not the cornerstone. All right? It's a makeshift cornerstone that they're building off of, which is not going to be able to hold the house. That's why it says don't build your house upon sand. So these guys are building their houses on sandy foundation. You're wishy-washy because these things that we're pushing and we're telling you through the Spirit and power of Bashim Yahushua are things that you will have to face and you will have to answer and you will have to choose. So if you're not build yourself up, or if it's been taught to you as a thing you haven't really been fully convinced in, then when that thing really comes to you, you're not going to be able to handle it, or you're not going to be able to answer it or give it the knowledge and wisdom that you need. All right? So Yahbashim Yahushua is telling us that we need to prepare ourselves the best way that we can. And that's through what? Learning the truth the right way and getting the full understanding through the Spirit and power of Yahbashim Yahushua. And it says control mechanism. Let's go down here. Gehenna, the trash pit, not eternal hell. So they know where they're pulling from sources. These chats, these bots, these AI are pulling from the whole web, the full shabam, because even Esau knows that this is it's a scam, but he's not pulling it out to the masses because his magic is that he'll tell you something, but if you don't do your research or you don't do your due diligence, then you get caught up. That's on you. Okay? That's on you. Hold on. Let's see what this. And it says Gehenna, trash pit, not eternal hell. Biblical Gehenna, a valley near Jerusalem. That's Jeremiah 7:31 to 32. Let's do that. This is Jeremiah 31 or 7:31. Jeremiah 7:31, it says, and they had built a high places in Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came into my heart. So these are the same people, okay, that were doing this to their children. Not the doctrine is one thing. That's nobody's parenting that. These are live children you're supposed to love and cherish. They were burning their children and sacrificing it to Molech. So don't get it twisted and thinking that we came into slavery because we were so fucking innocent and we didn't have no splat on us and we just went through this hardship. No, we were hard-headed. Too much is given, much is required. We were the people of the Most High, and our people were sacrificing their children that was blessed to them to idols and demons. Okay, in the land, and sacrificing them and burning them in Gehenna. Same thing these guys want to they're practically killing Jake behind bullshit. And it says, their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Therefore, behold, the days cometh, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnon, but the valley of slaughter. For they shall burn in Tophet till there be no place. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away. So that's the real torture, okay? The Lord disposing and putting your body and doing away with you, man. Okay, because they were wicked as hell. We were wicked. That's why we needed Adam, okay, Yahweh Shai, to come back and make things right and give us that opportunity for the new body, the new flesh that wherein dwelleth righteousness, where the new hearts are going to be able to do the law, statutes, and commandments perfectly, and we won't have to worry about going into these situations anymore. Okay, it says where refuse and corpses were burned, not a supernatural realm of torment. See? So it wasn't a realm of torment. This is here, and you got to look at this and look at these aspects. This doesn't say Great Millstone said. Do your research and see the meaning of Hebrew, but you got what Yahweh Sop said, the English is good for me. And it says Yahweh Shai use of Gehenna, Matthews 5 and 20. 29 to 30 warns of being thrown into Gehenna, symbolizing destruction like trash, not eternal suffering. See? It's not eternal suffering. It's not a place you're burning for the longevity of creation. Okay? And creation is a long time. That's why I said this is a drop in a bucket, the hell that we serve, because compared to eternity, it's nothing. This is Matthew 5 and verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of counsel. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in the danger of hellfire, Gehenna. See, let's go here. See, Gehenna. Future punishment called Gehenna or Gehenna of fire. This was originally the valley of Hinnon, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and dead animals in the city were cast out and burned, a fit symbol of the wicked and their future destruction. See? So it's not talking about that. That's what Yahweh Shai was speaking about. He wasn't speaking about some eternal place. He wasn't pushing that. Okay? Because because a lot of the people that he was speaking to, if not majority of them, were going to be in the land of Babylon and be in the land where you had to be delivered, or you would be touched with those thermonuclear weapons, and you would be a part of that soil, and you would be judged in that coming destruction. And on top of that, Yahweh Shai himself burning parts of America too in a gigantic, what people call a UFO, UAP, or unidentified flying object, or they say aliens, but it's not. It's the angels. Okay? And it says Mark 9 and 43 to 48. It says where their worm does not die refers to maggots consuming dead bodies in Gehenna, not immortal souls. Because souls can't burn. Souls can't die. That's why the soul doesn't die with the body. The body, if the soul can die, then it would have been in the body. The body dies because it's terrestrial. The soul goes up to the spirit world where the Most High gave that because it's energy. That's why it says the Most High is a consuming fire. It's energy. So his sons and his offspring and the fragments of his energy is fire. Fire comes fire. Okay, to fight fire you must use fire. So spirits can't burn. Souls can't burn. Okay. Misinterpretation. The church later conflated Gehenna with Plato's Tartarus. 2 Peter 2 and 4, the pagan underworld myth, because they mixed everything. But if we look on the right and the left-hand side of that, is that David prayed that this Bible become a snare and a trap to those that are not worthy. So that's a part of that Bible being set traps. That was a trap that was set in the Bible. Because if you come across this hell doctrine and you believe it and you push it, you sprang the trap. Because you were in judgment, you're in line with judgment, because that's not what it was set up to be. That's not what it was set up to be broken down as. And it's clear here if you do your research. That's why it says, blessed is he that readeth. not just take things for face value or what somebody else says. Like the Church of Berea, they did their research because they wanted to be fully convinced in their own mind. Historical development from Jewish Shiloh to eternal torment. Jewish belief: Shiloh versus Gehenna. Shiloh, a neutral grave or underworld for the dead. Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 10. Let's get that. It's Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 10. It says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor devices, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So the grave is what we all go. We all go to that. That's where the destiny of the flesh is. But the Lord is coming back to change these bodies, these vile bodies, into new and improved bodies, which can accept the law totally. Okay. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. So that's why we have the prayer of our daily bread, okay, the Lord's Prayer, because that shows us that all these things are getting ready to be done unto the elect when it comes to wealth, riches, glory. All these things are coming. We're suffering this low. We're playing this. We're taking a low to be able to go to the open that's set before us. All right. So it's not to the Esau can't save himself by his tanks, his battle gear, all these things. All those things are going to be pushed out the way because guess what? It's his time to serve slavery. Okay. Let's keep going here. It says Shiloh. It says later Judaism, Second Temple period. Gehenna became a metaphor for judgment. Book of Enoch, but not eternal. See, not eternal judgment. Early Christian shift. Judith, Yahushua's parable, Luke 16 and 19 to 31. The rich man and Lazarus, which was a parable. Greek Shiloh, not hell, as later defined. See, which is the grave. So it's saying the rich man dies, the poor man dies. They go up to the spirit world. They receive their judgment. That's why the rich man said, send somebody back for my son, my brothers to tell them. Okay. I said, no, they have the prophets. So it's saying the spirit world, and then they come back down to the planet Earth and they serve out their punishment. That's why the rich man is saying, damn, I'm finna go into slavery. My whole people about to go into slavery because they knew everything runs concurrent. The time is different in the spirit world. So he knew that it was getting ready to go down for his nation. All right. And then Lazarus was comforted, which is symbolic of the Israelites, starting with the elect. Lazarus is going to be in the bosom of Abraham. It says early Christian shift. Augustine's influences 4th and 5th century. Merge Platonic and moral of the soul with biblical judgment. Popularized early tournament. Despised churches, earlier church fathers, Origen, George of Nicaea, Gregory Nyssa, favoring universal reconciliation. Okay, let's see here. Then you got Dante's Inferno, the 14th century. So they know all these things have been brought out. We're just reiterating and telling you that this doctrine that's being pushed is a damnable heresy, man. Okay, God's mercy versus eternal punishment. And that's what they're really doing. Adding and saying that, you talking about the Most High's personality, and you telling people what you think he's doing, but he's also showing you through the prophets that it's not so. So you really disrespecting him by pushing the hell doctrine, because that's not what he set up. Okay. And it says depiction solidified hell's imagery in popular culture. Council of Trent, 1545 to 1563. Dogmatized hell as eternal fire, leaving fear to counter reform the critics. So they just wanted people to be put under that control, man, money-wise. More people you got, the more money you got, the more revenue you got coming in. So let's see here. Let's go to conclusion. Spiritual Gehenna was a literal trash pit, not a supernatural hell. Eternal torment emerged from pagan influences, Plato, Greek, Hades, Tartarus, political control, medieval church, Trent. Alternative views, early Christians often reject endless punishment, favoring restorative justice. See? So the point is there, man. All right. Yabashim Yashai is showing us that these things that these guys want to push in, they're BS. Okay. They're not scriptural, they're not biblical, and they're for what? Control mechanisms. Let's see here. Let's see here. You got some prayer. It says hell as complete consumption. Malachi 4 verse 1-3, the wicked will be burnt up, leaving neither root nor branch. They will be ashes under the shoes of your feet. Total annihilation, not eternal suffering. The wicked will vanish like smoke. No trace remains, and like eternal torment. 2 Thessalonians 1 and verse 9, they will suffer eternal destruction, shut out from the Lord's presence. Because Esau's going to be put into slavery. He's going to be put into to the field. He's not going to be able to do the things that he's doing now, currently. Okay. I thought I had one, Joel, but I guess I didn't. But I'm gonna leave it there. Lord willing, at a final lesson. It's a point of just going through. I seen this on chat and show you that, hey, even the chat knows what's up. But these guys are trying to do their own thing and establish their own righteousness in their own way. But hey, it ain't gonna work, man. Because these right here, because the mentality of hell is something that was pushed for a control mechanism, not the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushua in these scriptures. So with that, I say call Allah Yahweh. Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechak Wadash. Until next time, I say Shalom, and more, and I never keep faith. Shalom.